Our top story tonight on Gravitas is about Donald Trump and his proposal to expand U.S. territory to include Canada, Greenland, and the Panama Canal. The incoming American president wants to make Canada the 51st state of the United States. Not just that, Donald Trump also wants to make Greenland a part of the United States. Or in his words, make Greenland great again. Now the question is, what is behind all of this? Why does he want to make Canada a part of the United States? Why is he talking about buying Greenland? Also, what do Canada and Greenland have to say about all of this? And more importantly, what is in it for Trump and the US? Well, as it turns out, a lot. For now, let's just start off with what's Trump's interest in Canada all about? You see, Trump vowed to use economic force when asked if he would attempt to annex Canada. Listen to this first.
Economic force, because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada.
You heard that. Trump called the shared border between the US and Canada an artificially drawn line. The boundary, by the way, is the world's longest between two countries. It was established in treaties dating back to the founding of the US in the late 1700s. Now, Trump says he wants to get rid of it in a way. Why? Because according to Trump, the US spends billions of dollars protecting Canada. He criticized imports of Canadian cars, lumber, as well as dairy products. He says Canada should be a state of the US. You see, Trump's complaint is that Canada, which is America's closest geographical friend, is allegedly freeloading of the US defense umbrella. Therefore, Canada, according to him, should be a state, rather America's 51st state, instead of being an independent nation, according to him. Now, how has Canada responded? Take a guess. To quote outgoing Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, there isn't a snowball's chance in hell of the two countries merging. Next, let's talk about what Trump said about Greenland. On Tuesday, Trump's eldest son, Donald Trump Jr., arrived in Greenland for a personal visit. And just a day earlier, Trump had reiterated his suggestion that the Danish territory should become a part of the United States. But this is just one of the several controversial territorial expansion announcements or declarations that Trump has proposed in recent weeks. You see, there appears to be a method behind Trump's declarations. National security. You heard that right. As repetitive as that may sound, Trump's statements highlight a crucial question that America is facing. What is America's place in a world shaped by China's rise, the inequalities of globalization melting polar ice, the great power instability? Let me explain this. The answer is in Trump's statement. Listen to it for yourself.
Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world. You look at...
So how did Greenland react to that? Again, no points for guessing, with fury. Greenlandic and Danish officials are making it absolutely clear they want nothing to do with what Trump is proposing. But before we go any further at this point, here's some background about Greenland. Greenland used to be a Danish colony until it became self-ruled in 1979, and today it remains a territory of Denmark. Greenland's prime minister, in fact, has called for independence from Denmark, but he also said he has no interest in Greenland becoming part of the United States. In fact, independence for Greenland has become a top issue ahead of a Greenlandic parliament election set to take place no later than April 6. And both Denmark and the US have a say over the territory's defense. So then why is Trump so interested in buying Greenland? You see, for years, Trump has floated the idea of buying Greenland. He initially became interested during his first term, in fact, in the White House. It was suggested by his friend, reportedly, Ronald Lauder. Trump said he saw it as a large real estate deal. And he became more convinced when he learned more about Greenland's strategic importance, reportedly. But there is more to the story. Greenland also has the Arctic's wealth of natural resources. It is home to a large American space facility and has some of the largest deposits of rare earth minerals, which, as we know, are key to the manufacturing of batteries, high-tech devices. Greenland's main export is fish, but it's rich in mineral as well as hydrocarbon resources. They are largely untapped. Almost no minerals or hydrocarbons are produced for export after a ban on all new oil and gas exploration in 2021. Greenlandic officials saying that the environmental price of oil extraction was too high, despite estimates of billions of barrels worth of oil along the west coast and under the seabed of the east coast. At the time, the Greenland government said the ban was imposed for the sake of our nature, quote unquote. They said that the ban was imposed to focus business on sustainable potentials. Greenland, by the way, also switched its energy development to hydropower because of concerns about climate change. Further, in 2021, Greenland's parliament also passed a ban on uranium mining. As part of the ban, the development of the mine near the southern town of Narsak, which is one of the biggest deposits of rare earth elements in the world, was stopped. What's more, the melting ice in the Arctic also opens up a new strategic asset in geopolitics, which is shorter and more efficient shipping routes. For example, navigating through the Arctic Sea from Western Europe to East Asia is about 40% shorter compared to sailing through the Suez Canal, 40%. According to a recent Arctic Council report, in fact, ship traffic in the Arctic has already surged 37% over the past decade. Already, China has shown interest in a new route through the Arctic. In November, China and Russia also agreed to work together to develop Arctic shipping routes. We told you about this. Greenland is strategically very important to the Arctic. And here on Gravitas, we have told you many times that the Arctic is going to be the battleground of the future. And you see, that's the real reason Trump is interested in the wealth of Greenland and Canada. Along with Canada and Greenland, by the way, Trump has also threatened to take back Panama Canal. He's vowed to change the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Trump's extraordinary statement has come just 2 weeks before he is sworn in at the January 20 inauguration in Washington. His attitude embodies his America First policy, a policy of using America's strength to pursue national interests, even if it means forcing smaller allied powers. Trump believes that the U.S. should rule supreme in its own sphere of influence. But just because America can do something, does it mean that it should? There is already criticism of Trump's neo-colonialistic statements. This approach basically poses a significant risk of alienating America. Trump could jeopardize America's power by undermining alliances that have been built over decades and distancing itself from its friends. Also, let's not forget what Trump is suggesting violates international law, and so it's unlikely that Trump will get what he wants. Is it possible that his strategy might be aimed at getting better deals for the United States, perhaps greater access to rare earth minerals in Greenland, or a new trade deal with Canada that might be of advantage for U.S. manufacturers? Our top story tonight on Gravitas is from India, where 6 people were crushed to death in the temple town of Tirupati in the southern state of Andhra Pradesh. An unfortunate incident that claimed the lives of innocent individuals who had gathered to collect entrance tokens so that they could offer their prayers to the deities. But poor planning, miscommunication, inadequate crowd control and safety lapses reportedly led to the tragic loss of life and injuries for several others. Who is responsible for this chaos is the question. Who should be held accountable for these deaths? Who is to blame for this avoidable tragedy and the loss of life? And more importantly, why are stampedes so common in India? Let's just understand this. First, here's what happened on Wednesday night. A stampede broke out when hundreds of devotees jostled to get tokens for the 10-day auspicious ceremony there. It's supposed to start on January 10. You see, 2 days before the festival was set to begin, this is the temple located in the Tirumala Hills. Large crowds descended at over 90 ticket counters that were set up for the festival. According to reports, arrangements were in place for the distribution of 120,000 tokens to devotees. The tokens are meant for what is called Sarva Darshan. It basically allows a chance for the devotees to see the inner sanctum of the temple and offer prayers up close. Now, the tokens for the 10-day festival were to be handed from 5 a.m. on Thursday. But thousands of people gathered a night before at the counters that was set up by the temple body, TTD, which oversees the temple operations. The distribution arrangements were made at 94 counters, besides other places. But the situation went out of control at the counter set up at MGM High School, located near the Vishnu Nivasam temple. Around 4,000 to 5,000 temple thronged the counter from Wednesday morning. By the evening, the crowd became unruly, leading to pushing, jostling. The situation spiraled out of control when crowds reportedly surged towards the ticket counter gates. At 8:50 p.m., the gates gave way under pressure, triggering the stampede. Some devotees fell. Others were trampled as panic spread. Security personnel, including police and TTD vigilance staff, were unable to manage the rush. Local residents and police provided immediate assistance, performing CPR on the injured. But videos reportedly showed untrained personnel also attempting CPR. According to B.R. Naidu, the chairman of TTD, when a gate was opened to assist a woman feeling unwell, the crowd surged forward all at once, leading to chaos. It would reportedly take the authorities 15 minutes to evacuate the crowd. Today, the Andhra Pradesh government announced a compensation of rupees 25 lakh for the families of those who lost their lives in the stampede. 2 cases reportedly have been filed by the police, and one of the 2 FIRs filed reportedly appears to lay the blame on the crowd. But the tragedy itself marks an unprecedented incident in the history of the TTD. But there's no denying the lack of management that led to the unfortunate incident. Preliminary investigations have revealed that there were no barricades at the ticket counters. The incident exposing major safety lapses reportedly in crowd management by the local police as well as the TTD officials. According to Indian media reports, officials were already alerted about the growing crowd. They were advised against allowing large congregations at the token centers to prevent untoward incidents. Evidently, the concerns were ignored. There are also reports indicating lack of coordination between the officials and the police. But who should be blamed? TTD and the state government are facing criticism for the alleged mismanagement in ticket distribution. But the temple body chairman, who has termed the incident as unfortunate, has expressed anger over administrative lapses, stating that the mishap occurred due to the premature opening of the gates by one DSP. Meanwhile, Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister N. Chandrababu Naidu, after meeting the injured victims, expressed dissatisfaction with the officials' handling of the arrangements. He also stressed on the need for stricter measures to avoid a recurrence. He vowed accountability for those responsible for the lapses. But this is not the first time. As tragic as it is, stampedes have become common in India. According to data from the National Crime Records Bureau, India recorded 3,935 stampede incidents between 1996 and 2022. Deadly accidents are common at places of worship during major religious festivals. In July last year, 121 people were killed in Uttar Pradesh during a Hindu religious gathering. Then in August, 7 people died in another stampede that broke out. This was in Bihar's Jehanabad district. In January 2022, at least 12 people died and more were injured in a stampede at the Vaishno Devi temple in Jammu and Kashmir. It happened after a huge crowd of devotees tried to go into the shrine through its narrow entrance. In 2016, another 112 people died after a huge explosion caused by a banned fireworks display marking the Hindu New Year at a temple in Kerala. In 2014, over 30 people were killed in a stampede at Gandhi Maidan in Bihar's Patna. In 2013, during the Kumbh Mela in Allahabad, 36 people were killed at a railway station due to overcrowding. In 2011, 106 people died on a narrow pathway in Sabrimala. But it's not just religious events, of course. Stampedes have also been recorded at political rallies, at celebrity appearances. In fact, just a few weeks ago, a stampede broke out at a cinema hall in the southern city of Hyderabad during the premiere of the movie Pushpa 2. You would know about this. The memory of that incident, in fact, is still fresh in the minds of the people. On December 4, a large crowd had gathered to catch a glimpse of popular actor Allu Arjun. But chaos broke out when the actor waved to the fans from the sunroof of his car. A woman was crushed in the resulting stampede, with her child suffering injuries. Each time, the circumstances behind the stampede remain the same: poor planning, miscommunication, inadequate crowd management, safety lapses, negligence, greed. It reflects a chronic failure to ensure public safety, especially during religious festivals. It's time to ask some serious questions. Why is crowd safety not a priority in India? It would seem that is an obvious question. Why are actionable measures not implemented? Why is spatial and thermal comfort not considered when planning events? Shouldn't organizers provide sufficient hydration facilities, for example, to prevent exhaustion at these events? Are organizers accounting for multiple clearly designated entry and exit points? Are they prepared to handle the expected crowd size? What does their emergency preparedness look like? All of these factors must be non-negotiable. It's time that authorities ensure the safety of citizens, whether they gather for faith or for fandom or otherwise. Our next story is about something that happened in India's Kerala. You have probably come across the video we're about to talk about. Before we go any further, let's just warn you here. The video, the footage, the story is disturbing, so viewer discretion is advised. This is what we are talking about. This video has gone viral now, by the way. It shows an elephant lifting a man and swinging him in the air. What you see right there is scary indeed. In fact, at least 17 people were injured, one of them critically. There were scenes of absolute panic. Most injuries were reportedly the result of the stampede-like situation due to the panic. Just for context, this was during an annual festival in Kerala. But that footage is only what you see and one part of the story. You see, what happened is indicative of something extremely important that might not get talked about enough. While what happened is obviously unfortunate and disturbing, and one can't be too sure of what triggered the incident in Kerala, we've all heard about multiple accounts focusing on the debate around man versus wild. This incident had people reacting and commenting on the video saying, man's actions have consequences. Again, we don't know what happened and what led to this incident really, but what we are saying is that this heart-wrenching incident, this piece of footage, is a strong reminder about something we've all grown up listening to. Animals are not mute spectators. They are living beings. They also have feelings, just like us. Again, let's be clear, we don't know if those around that animal at that point should have done more or less, done something, not done something. As of now, there aren't clear answers, not enough details. But the larger point being, if in any way an animal around you is not getting the help or the care that they deserve, the onus lies on us humans to set that right.